M1 Garand is a .30 caliber semi-automatic rifle which was standard U.S. service rifle issued during World War II, the Korean War, and even into the Vietnam War. And this is a wildly popular rifle that has truly shaped the history of the planet. And these are really big collector guns at this point and often used for other reasons throughout the world still to this day. So we're going to take a look at the top 10 things you probably didn't know about the M1 Garand. Starting off with number 1. French-Canadian inventor of the M1 Garand, John Garand. Last name is pronounced Garand, and a lot of people refer to this rifle as the M1 Garand. It's pronounced Garand, much like the word errand. Number 2, the original design of this gun has evolved over a long period of time. Originally started in 1919, John Garand set out to produce a primer-actuated blowback .30 caliber semi-automatic rifle. His first version of this was the 1922 Garand. Now this evolved even further in 1924 and became the 1924 Garand. And it was about that time that the US military started trials because they wanted a .30 caliber semi-automatic rifle. And it was in 1928 that the Garand went up against powerhouses like the Thompson. They tested it, turned it down, they evolved it, dropped it, modified it, reintroduced it, and it was finally in 1937 that the U.S. military decided that the M1 Garand would truly be the U.S. serviceman's rifle. After almost 20 years of evolving and trying, the M1 Garand finally made it into the hands of the military. Number 3. Production difficulties were a big problem in the beginning. In 1937, they were only producing 10 a day. And a lot of this had to do with machine equipment. They just couldn't quite keep up with what the military needed. And it wasn't until 2 years later that they finally amped it up to 100 a day. And it wasn't until 1941 that they finally got it up to 600 guns a day that Springfield was producing. And by the middle of World War I, they'd produce over 5.5 million M1 Garands for the U.S. military. Number 4, during World War II, the M1 Garand was used by every branch of the U.S. military, and the impact of the faster firing .30 caliber led to greater production of Axis semi-automatic and automatic weapons. So it was really the responsibility of the M1 Garand that was responsible for this amped up design and engineering of more efficient, faster shooting guns out there. Number 5, General George S. Patton called the M1 Garand the greatest implement of battle ever devised. Number 6, post-World War II, most of the U.S. arsenal underwent rebuilding and repair. And it wasn't until the Korean War that the U.S. military ordered Springfield Armory to amp up its production of the M1 Garand. But it wasn't only Springfield that was producing the M1 Garand at this point. Between 1953 and 1956, a few other companies were contracted by the U.S. military to produce M1 Garand. Notably on that list is International Harvesters, which at the time was producing trucks and tractors. Also notably on that list was Winchester and Beretta. But between International Harvesters and Harrington and Richardson, there were over 500,000 M1 Garands, with Winchester and Beretta producing about 100,000 M1 Garands during that time. Number 7, post-World War II, over 35 countries were using the M1 Garand as their service rifle, including most of Europe, Israel, much of South America, Asian countries, including the Chinese National Army, which used it from 1950 to 1968. Making this a widely used rifle by much of the world during this time. Number 8, most exported Allied production M1s were not made by Springfield. In fact, most of them were made by International Harvesters. So if you have an imported M1 Garand that came from another country, chances are it is not a Springfield. Most likely is an International Harvester M1 Garand. Number 9, in 2009, South Korea tried to export 850,000 service rifles to the U.S., including 87,000 M1 Garand rifles. This sale was eventually blocked by the Obama administration, but South Korea underhanded Obama and sold 87,000 M1 to private investors, gun companies in the United States, and they sold it to the fine folks like yourself and myself. Now, this, of course, did not boast well with the Obama administration. And in 2013, Obama banned any future importation of all U.S.-made weapons imported from other countries. So you can no longer import the M1 Garand. And the only way you can, unfortunately, it has to have an importer's name stamped on the barrel, slide, and receiver, which lowers the value, and has to be purchased through the Civilian Marksmanship Program. And finally, number 10, my all-time favorite, is that the M1 Garand is still being used to this day, not only by the U.S. military, but other militaries throughout the world as a ceremonial rifle. What a beautiful rifle the M1 Garand is. How appropriate that a gun that shaped the planet and shaped the history of this world forever is used as a ceremonial rifle. I just love that. It's even used in US Marine Corps silent drill platoons. South Korea, Japan, and Israel also use this rifle for ceremonial purposes. So there you go. There's the top 10 things you probably didn't know about the M1 Garand. If you like this video, click like and subscribe.